Hey everyone, I want to talk all about social media compulsions, the stuff I see not just regarding body dysmorphia, but just how easy it is to scroll for hours and not really take actionable steps towards OCD and anxiety recovery. Why we have to be careful, because when you go on social media and you type in stuff such as, is social media bad for your health? You're primarily going to get a lot of black and white views on social media, which is understandable because humans hold very rigid beliefs on most things because of that sense of power it gives us. And it feels really good to go up to someone at a party and say, I'm 2 months, no social media. And then we use that in a conditional manner to put others down and try to guilt and shame people or just boost up that conditional self-acceptance. Before I go any further, please subscribe, hit that like button down below. Let me know what you think about this. This is a video that many people ask me to do. And I get sent different talks by psychologists and influencers on social media on a daily basis. And I always try to pick good points from many different people. Even the most heinous criminals on earth have made good points in interviews, and some of them are very calm in their demeanor at times. So, there is no such thing as someone being entirely evil. Evil probably doesn't even exist in any sense, in our opinion. It probably is just individuals with genetics and structure and wrong time, wrong place and stuff like that. And if you need help with any of this stuff, please email us at phil@ocdrecovery.com, and we will get back to you in a timely fashion. So the first thing we got to remember is, let's go for some really big topics. Are selfies inherently good or bad? So selfies aren't good or bad. They're just a thing that people do nowadays because they have the opportunity to take them. Now, do selfies add benefits to your life? Probably, if I could put a number on it, an arbitrary number that has no backing, I would say 99% no. And it takes you away from the present moment, and not in the sense where I always talk about that you need to be present and all the time, because your brain, the wandering mind, brings you places. And excuse me, even when you reach OCD and anxiety recovery, you're still not going to be present all the time because you have things going on in your life. Now, when you're taking selfies, and I can always tell when I'm coaching someone, I've done this many times, I say, send me your Instagram handle, and they're like, I don't want to do that. Because when I tell them, and I'm like, look, I'm not here to put you down, I'm just here to talk about the obvious statements. Number one, you probably took this photo. If all of your social media is selfies, you more than likely have a problem with rejection. Remember, insecurities is fear of rejection. I hear a lot of people talk about the ego, and I think the ego is explained incorrectly. The more I've dived into this and really brought this down in my own life, when you look at the Freudian method of psychoanalysis, when they look at the ego, a lot of people look at the ego, and Jung did this as well, and very intelligent individuals, not taking very more intelligent than I am, more than likely, on those topics. But I think they miss something where the ego is just the fear of rejection, whether it's consciously happening or subconscious with lack of free will. I think that's what's happening. After applying that to many people I work with and myself, et cetera, and feeling the fears of rejection. So if your social media is all selfies, it's probably an issue. And it is something that we do want to talk about because a lot of people are falling into that. The perfect lighting, the perfect angle, the perfect quote, needing people to accept you. There's never a need for that. Now, I get it. Some people make a lot of money on social media, and we're not taking that away from you. As long as you understand that that's just a piece of your life. It's like saying I'm a baseball player. Well, you're not, and it's not semantics, even though many people think it is semantics. You're just an individual who plays baseball. You're not a bodybuilder. You're just a person who lifts weights. That way, when that can be taken away from you in a matter of seconds due to an injury or a car accident, you don't spiral into a deep depression or anxiety, which could lead to self-harm, which is what we see when individuals in professional sports get injured because they've attached their entire identity to their sport. This is the same thing with selfies. I'm a good person because I'm a good-looking person. I look better than you. I have makeup. Again, nothing wrong with taking care of yourself just to do that. So that's one of the big things. There's never a need unless you're being paid money, which very few amount of people on this planet make actual survivable income. And again, this is just the realities of life. There's nothing wrong with doing this. People can do whatever they want. But I do think it's important to highlight this. Most of you are not making money off your social media accounts based off fitness, but what you are doing is you're opening up the door severely for body image fears and clinical body dysmorphia and OCD to run rampant around that because you've put all of your image on that. So remember, you're not going to... We've really got this backwards since bodybuilding became a mainstream thing in fitness, in the Fitspo community, thinking I'm going to go to the gym to build confidence. Well, that's a shaky thing to build confidence on because as you're building confidence on something that can be taken away from you in a matter of seconds, it's shaky ground. It's a ground that could be, standing on the rug that could be swept underneath you at any moment. So it is really important to cover that. And it's a very, very important thing. Now, let's go to some of the other compulsions I see. Scrolling all day. It's not that scrolling is inherently bad. I catch myself scrolling at night, but being aware of it. Remember, there's no right or wrong answer here. There's a lot of gray area because OCD and anxiety sufferers and regular non-sufferers as well, they want the line in the sand. They want someone to tell them to use it or not, but that's not how the world works. Making a conscious, proactive decision on your own, whilst accepting you could be making a decision that's hindering your life, is a massive sign of being an adult and immaturity. And it took me a really long time to do that because I always wanted people to do things for me. Even though I came across as someone that's very disciplined. I was in certain things, but most things in my life I was not. So scrolling all the time. You are OCD sufferers. Stop. It's not that it's inherently bad, but you're going to have to stop following all these accounts. 5 ways to know if you're in love. 5 ways to know if you're the right person. A lot of black and white statements in that. A lot of ridiculous stuff. There's no way to know. There's no way to know if you're in the right relationship or not. There's no way to know for sure whether you're in love or not. There's only signs that could obviously morph around because you're really afraid of the connection, etc. So another thing we want to be wary of is social media is marketing. Nothing wrong with that. I use it for my business. I use it for OCD recovery. I use it for my healthcare business. And I realize that there's a lot of good benefits of social media, but there's a lot of cons with social media as well. And some of the cons are sensationalist individuals that are yelling, putting you down, money, politics, and religion, the big three I call them. The reason why I talk about money, politics, and religion, because it's the individual concepts that people become very, very black and white on, right? I'm a Christian, I'm a Muslim, I'm a Republican, I'm a Democrat, I'm a liberal, I'm a conservative, I'm rich, you're poor, etc. And then the way they go about that is yelling at people and stuff like that. There's never a situation, in my opinion, where taking the calm approach doesn't do you better in the long run. Now, when you're yelling at someone and when you're putting them down, which I've done thousands, if not 100,000 times in my life, when it comes to anything with fitness and knowledge, with OCD in my earlier days when I was coaching people. But I realized there's good traits in many different people, even people that commit more harmful traits than not, or else individuals who committed murder wouldn't go to jail and ever be able to become, say, a Christian, practicing Christian, and turn their lives around and help people in jail who other commit murder. So there's people that do very, very heinous acts, but it doesn't make them a bad person. When we're yelling at people and putting them down all the time, and a lot of people, when they're afraid of moving towards Stoic philosophies or a more calm demeanor, they're afraid they're going to lose this sense of self. Now, this really affected me. I was so afraid I was going to lose the individual who I thought I was, the outgoing A-type personality, and that comes out quite a bit. But I don't need to be that person. I can be a very calm individual. I can be someone who's accepting of their current state without people approving of me. Now, it took me a really long time to get to, but I can tell you how I did it. I didn't go and yell at people on social media. There's really no point of answering people in comment sections where you don't know. I mean, that doesn't mean with me, with giving advice and answering like I do in these videos. I mean, if you're on social media on a TikTok, and there's a video by a very famous, let's use Andrew Tate for an example, very controversial individual. And people are always asking me, Robin Moman, our opinions on Andrew Tate. And we try to be as open-minded and not being black and white because that's the philosophies we live by. Things we agree with, things we don't, of course. And that's for anyone out there. Even people who are deemed as saint-like, maybe Mother Teresa or Gandhi, they have characteristic traits that people don't like, so they're not inherently good by default. No one is born inherently good or bad. They're born as a shell of a human. And then they develop belief systems based on their cultural, their background, economic structures, lack of free will, etc., whatever you believe in. So I didn't do that by yelling at people in the comments. I've done that so many times in my life, so I had to stop doing that. I personally use social media, and I'm a human, so I fall into the scrolling for benefits of my business and connecting with people all over the world. Be conscious of how you're posting. Again, not inherently bad. You want to post pictures of food, we get it. I love doing that. People know I love that stuff in the groups, but I'm not looking at social media as a way to fulfill a drug addiction to self-esteem, because that's what self-esteem is. Self-esteem is an addiction. It's an addiction that can never be fulfilled unless you're perfect. And the last time I checked, no one's perfect, so it becomes a really, really big problem. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. Please comment down below. I love engaging as always. Always remember, we have webinars every Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. UK time. They're a lot of fun. Huge questions and answers. And we do a lot of coaching. We're really booked out right now for a long time, but we get people in as quickly as we can, and we think that's really good. If you only are contacting us or finding us on social media and we're not answering you right away, because we are getting a lot of inquiries, please DM us. We check those all the time, and then we can go from there. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, enjoy the rest of your day.